Welcome everybody. Five of Wands, a difficult card to explain in a reading. What does it mean? What do we say? Let's start with its numerological value. 5. It's about battles. It's about truth. It's about analysis and communication. And it's a card of feeling as if everything is going wrong. Don't forget, it's a physical feeling. It's not an emotional one. It's not a mental one. And it's not something that's manifested. It's the actions around us that we are taking, or the involvement, in this case, of other people. So it may feel that you are at odds with your ideas or others, feeling that others are disagreeing with your wishes, leaving you frustrated as events get held up and setbacks are guaranteed. Mock battles. All situations can be resolved. It's just a matter of talking it over and not ignoring what's in their minds. You need to be aware that hold-ups will be resolved and need to be debated rather than go into arguments. The 5 of Wands shows a time where wires are crossed in communication, resulting in trivial, petty annoyances and silly arguments that can go into almost physical actions. It's the actions we take based on these arguments. And although these problems can be difficult and troublesome, they will lead to passing quickly because decisions are met and the alternative and differing views of others will leave you feeling very frustrated. It's about having feelings that nothing's going right when this card appears and time's being wasted, yet it's simply the views of others slowing us down. There is little cooperation within this group. No permanent damage will be done as issues are deliberated. It's about airing feelings. And you may be left wishing a decision could be made to get things moving, as a curveball puts things, all your plans and all your ideas out of stride. So this is a card that it's a reminder that you're not alone, but what you often wish for can involve others and that they will want their say in how things are done and how time is spent. So it's about having faith in your position, but sometimes it can be quicker to listen to others and brainstorm a situation. So I'm going to put some keywords up here for you, and then we'll dive in a little bit deeper. A card of competition, egos, battles. With the 5 influencing the element of fire, battles can range from minor skirmishes to all-out war at the flick of a coin or the roll of a dice. A lot of energy is built up and this needs to be released. So we have 5 figures brandishing wands or sticks in their hands, and it's unclear as to whether they're going to use them as weapons for battles or sport. This scene presents chaos, either organized or disorganized. It is about mock battles, physical actions, getting involved. It's not just what we say, it's the effect and the actions that are taken as a result of this conflict. So these figures appear fully engaged in rowdy activity. At first glance, it looks dangerous, as if the situation has completely gotten out of control. However, when we examine the individual's faces, we find that neither anger or malice, but rather passion and determination. They might even be enjoying themselves. There's an impression of noise and boisterousness. No one's directly hit with the sticks, even though it might appear that way. Unlike the 5 of Swords, there's no injuries, no blood, no bodies scattered on the ground. It's actually about disruption. It really is. It's about disrupting things and letting people have their say and realizing that we've got to work as a collective. So there we go. So these skirmishes symbolically represent battles of daily life or our inherited human conditioning. Because life is constantly throwing curveballs, sticks, wands, whichever you want to say, at us. So we either run for cover or come out fighting. The 5 figures have decided to stand up and fight in this card. They're not engaged in mortal combat. But what else might they be up to? Absolutely right. Competition. And if we look at the faces of these figures, They're not looking where they're going, or they're too caught up in their own agendas to notice or care about any of the others. They move around like busy bees, and there's a sense of urgency and haste in their mad running around. Could this be a challenge completed in a set period of time? Are they under stress? Do the 5 figures work independently, or are they part of some sort of team? This could be competition or a race of some sort where every man's in it for himself, out for what they can get or what they can achieve. They might be seeking the same outcome, but it might be a limited supply. The first man over the finish line will secure it. There's no time to dawdle. No one is project managing this frenzied activity, so anything might happen with such fiery energy flying in all directions. Perhaps we're looking at an organised team who might have a last-minute task or a project to complete, and no time to prepare or delegate. It might be all hands to the deck, and everyone intent on getting on with their own job. So this might be organised chaos that we're observing. The ones might have a collective purpose rather than how they are individually represented in this imagery. So we've been given a snapshot, and that's what tarot is, snapshots based on the background effects. It's unclear whether it's depicting before the goal of this group or individual. Watch my tutorials on Tuesday, how to combine cards, where you will find out the answer lays in the pairing of another card, i.e. we divide the deck up, majors in one pile, minors in the other. Pull up 5 of wands, then 1 from the major arcana, which tells us what this mock battle is about. 5 in tarot is always, some people see it as unlucky, but in actual fact, it's always about some sort of upheaval or difficulties where we've got to tear things down and try and rebuild. But we can't do that unless we're listening to other people. This scene is captured in high activity. The 5 wands are either coming together or being pulled apart. Maybe they don't know. The figures are wearing outfits of varying colours and styles, symbolising their different mindsets and personalities. There's no uniform, no team colour, and perhaps no common ground. Whatever the situation, argument, or challenge, they all appear to have a very different approach to how it should be sorted. It's important to look at the symbology and the Rider-Waite to find out what are we being told. Probably everybody's shouting at the same time, trying to make it impossible for anyone to hear what's been said from the individual. There's probably overinflated egos because this is very active, and each will attempt to force their view or their opinion or their idea upon others in an attempt to gain supremacy. Each figure thinks they know best, and they want things their way. In their eyes, there can only be one winner, one champion, and it doesn't matter what the issue is. It's about standing your ground and going, you know what? I've got to come out of this with a victory. And that has to emerge from the group where we are asserting our full authority, and these people are commanding some sort of leadership. What started as maybe a great sport could result in tears, especially if these figures are forced or pushy with their own agendas. Petty conflicts and disagreements can escalate into hostility or serious warfare. By that I mean falling out, unless someone else can step in to calm the situation or assume control. Remember, it's in action, so it's not just about what somebody is thinking. It's very much to do with how somebody feels they will take action based on this. So this is an image which is showing the archetypal situation of too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Everyone is too full of their own importance to think about the greater good. And it could get very personal, with opponents perceiving slight insults or blowing things out of proportion at every opportunity. Might not be physical injuries, but egos can take a beating. And the physical injuries depends on what card's next to it. And that's why I don't want you to miss anything next week, where we could really look at this and really. And it doesn't mean that somebody's going to beat you up, but it depends what card's next to it as to how physical this might actually get and the consequences. Are you actually really beating somebody down so that they're not able to get back up and you're going to take the lead? And that's maybe what this is about. Depends, as I said, where it is in your spread. It also depends on your system and what you pair it with. If you want to know more, go to tarotwithannemary.com, where you will find out all the courses, and that's what I specialize in, giving you a system to get answers to the questions that nobody's ever showed you how to put it all together. Someone may be seeking some sort of rationalization amongst this group. They need to retaliate and lash out at each other. It's fundamental behavior when things get too much. Here we can see the element of fire overheating a situation or an issue. And fire is hard to put out in an uncontrolled environment. It looks like poor communication and lack of cooperation amongst the group. Mistakes are bound to happen. This could waste a lot of valuable time and energy, and might have to put out the fires after this to make sure that we have no disasters. There might be one amongst them who has the foresight to see that they're getting nowhere behaving like this. Surely, one out of that crowd might find something to agree on. It doesn't mean there's always got to be 5 people involved, of course, when we get this card. Number 5 is symbolic of a group of people, but it's very much about tearing things down, being in a place where difficulties, you've gone halfway through something, now you've got to take action. You're forced to stand up or give in. A leader must be appointed or self-appointed. So whoever it is will need to be made a very strong start, because they've got to be assertive, but not forceful. They won't be dealing with a group of easily led or swayed people, because this group's got large egos. He must be popular with the group, not someone who raises their hackles or tries to lord it over them. So this leader must be ingenious and come up with something others haven't thought of. It's got to be an acceptable solution to all the problems that they're facing and appeal to the masses. No easy feat. This person's got to know the group is full of bright sparks who've got some great ideas and plans, and he can only imagine the great things that they could do if they put their heads together and work as a team instead of backbiting or whinging. So there are wonderful qualities and talents being brought to the table, but it's a question of we've got to listen to everybody's point of view, and the creative possibilities of these groups is endless, but the competition is fierce. And now we've got the pettiness of their quarrels, and they are complaining about things that they find irritating and tedious. So compromise is the solution to any issues or disagreements between these figures, but that might be easier said than done. So they're going to need to listen to the needs, ideas, and opinions of each other without engaging in heated arguments, disagreements, or oppositions. Aired and heard. And if that's allowed, they might be quite surprised to discover that they've got a lot of common ground and work for the greater good. But with the noise and the uproar, they're not taking that time to listen, preferring to jump to conclusions instead. As I said, human behaviour, when we're rattled It's a card of being rattled, feeling, I've got to say my piece and I don't want to hear what you've got to say. It's the actions from that. It's not about conversations, everybody. This is about the action we take. So I'm going to block you, fight you, battle with you, alienate you, exclude you, make life difficult. I'm going to have my say. I'm going to prove you wrong. Competition. Or actually, maybe I'm going to let you enjoy the victory because I'm seeing things from a different perspective. But this heat's come because nobody's listening. And so they need to understand that compromise does not equal failure, weakness, or selling themselves out. It's a sign of maturity and open-mindedness, of having a balanced approach. If they manage this, they will grow and others will respect their integrity. A peaceful end can be brought to the battle. And whoever manages to achieve this will no doubt emerge as the leader of the pack, the strong favourite here. If fair to all, they will gain the respect from the group, the support, loyalty from the others, who will happily work under their chief's guidance. Now, the green earth beneath the battling figures could be a sports pitch, but that doesn't seem to be any captain in charge of the team. We've looked at their clothing. So at this point, no one knows which side they should be on. So they've all kind of run for the brook. No one's left covering the field. This might be a practice or a warm-up if it is a game. And we can see that they are getting ready. And this could be a card of let the games begin and may the best team win, or the best man. And it's too late now for any nerves, as they've got to go out and fight to the end. This is about taking action. There'll need to be stamina to stay the course. We can all turn around and start blowing flames, but can we sustain it? And can we listen? And can we move from that point? The expanse of Earth symbolises the territory needed for them to fight, protect, defend, or maintain what the project's about. There's plenty of land around, more than enough space for them all, but they're fighting over the same patch, which represents the opportunity. It's not about territory, territory is usually about the opportunity. So they are fighting over that opportunity regardless. And we might see this plot as the best opportunity. So we're determined to secure it, because second best won't do. Once a champion has emerged and secured it, he will then go after the unconquered territory in the background. There will always be more battles to fight, the group battles in a sports-like manner. They are worthy opponents, all good sports, happy to give as good as they get, and willing to take it on the chin if necessary. This type of challenge can release pent-up energy, as I said in the beginning, keeps them fresh and invigorated. If we look, they're all standing on an equal footing. No one has seriously pushed to the front yet, but it won't be long until someone makes a break for it. The five figures may appear to be caught up in their individual aims, but it's likely that they're keeping an eye on each other, ready to move rapidly in case one of them wants to gain that advantage, which they will. And we will see if it's a game, challenge, or a battle. It's accelerating. Remaining competitors will take the chase. If we stumble upon this scene in the Five of Wands, you might think someone's bound to get hurt. But adrenaline is running high. Our actions have consequences. It might fire their blood to sustain such a high level of challenge, but it will prove very stressful if they are allowed to continue indefinitely. And that kind of stress for others in their immediate environment is not healthy, and they won't be able to coexist with that. There's little chance for peace within this group in action as it stands. Now, the balance and teamwork of the four has vanished. We have that lovely structure in the Four of Wands, and now it's every man for himself. Something's happened in our figures in the tarot, for this to disturb that 4 strong wands that were planted really firmly on the ground that we saw in the Four of Wands. Someone wanted to change the situation and the arrangements of those 4 wands by introducing a 5th. And perhaps that fell apart due to neglect. And that's how it goes in our lives, isn't it? We are in an equal ground, everything's going well, it's all peaceful. And then we go for the next stage because that's part of our growth. And then we go into some sort of mock battle, in this case, action-based. Creating change, they might pick at the foundations, hoping they'll become shaky. The 5th one might have been introduced to prop them up and determine what might be done. The 5th one might stand out as different from the previous 4. It might be forceful, or an unwelcome visitor, or an uninvited guest arriving to disturb the peace. And it might invade the space of the original 4, causing shock and disruption. That's how life is. We get going, and as we get better at things, something extra is introduced. And sometimes that can lead to stability, like that 4 of Wands, and sometimes it can lead to a complete mock battle like we've got going on here. So this 5th wand has broken the perfect symmetry of that structure that we saw. It does remain to be seen what's going to be happening next and what it will be replaced with. The 5th wand might be demanding changes if the figures dismantled from the previous 4 wands are without a plan. There'll be uncertainty, instability, insecurities. The 4 wands had shelter, the sanctuary, home, safe. And it looks like they may have left that exposed to outside elements and influences. We've now got 5 figures that have to get along. The number 5 is a number of change. And that explains chaos that we see in the scene. Perhaps change is needed though. Action is needed to initiate that change. Regardless of how wonderful we view things at times in our life, we grow tired of them when they remain static or become outdated. We see figures enthusiastically throwing themselves and overturning from the old order in favour of the new. There's a need to alter, restructure, which is what this card's about. Reimagine, rework, rebuild. Hard of rebuilding, but not everybody agreeing. And we need to act. We have to do something. We cannot stay as it is. The figures are bored with the look, feel, or energy. Maybe it's become old-fashioned. There might be no reason other than wanting change. There might be nothing wrong with the old, but that fresh extra step and perspective has become urgent and has not been sorted out properly. This card shows one's restless spirit and fiery nature urging a shake-up of things for good or bad. It's a bit like bringing in a demolition team, waiting to start. And they have really got to get this moving again. This is a card that symbolises deconstruction, dismantling. The figures need to tear it apart, disturb foundations, and a rebuild. Agree. Because no one can change their mind when we start restoring to its original glory. Change is inevitable. Some things can be undone. Some can never be redone the same. Nothing stays the same. The world, the weather doesn't, the government doesn't, the world and its battles, all of that. It's all significant around us all of the time. Let's hope that the figures took this into consideration before they took action. The 5 figures strive to be in that place where they are testing what's going to happen. And they're prepared for all this upheaval to rebuild. But they're tearing it down in the process of that. Things may get damaged because it's heated and careless. Nobody's looking where they're going, and clumsiness, or probably leads to negligence or harm's being done. Maybe there is harm being done in action, not really trampling over others. We might be looking at blatant sabotage. Several people need to throw a spanner in the works to see what they come up with. But this group are actually looking as if they're getting nowhere. Nothing happening, they're just fighting. Why? Is it because of setbacks? Is it because there's more to this than we know that meets the eye? As I said, by using pairs, you will be able to establish what the problem is. And also in your system, in your spread, which I'm happy to teach you where to look, go on the courses, you can find out who, where, how, and when. This might have been in the past. This might be coming. This might be based on what's happened. We don't know. Just looking at one card, but that might not be the case. We need to put the story together. We need to understand the alphabet of the cards to find out more. You can't just come and go, oh, it's awful. This might be, hang on a minute, something's happening at work and it needs to be sorted. And it's not going to be an easy one. There are going to be arguments. Who do we want to exceed? What kind of competition is this? Every man for themselves. They all think they know best until they start listening to each other. While it appears that they are striving in earnest, there may be one who works equally hard to scramble at progress, or even, as we know human nature is, trying to sabotage the outcome because they're determined. They don't want it to go that way. The individuals might be too busy with the task to notice tree amongst them. Maybe petty rivalry or jealousy could be a drifting factor into the scene. It might be someone's been very cunning and they planned it very well. They had a strategy. This might come from external sources and they're distracted. Fighting amongst might be higher up in the ranks, flying below the radar. Their involvement might not be obvious or above suspicion. Nobody likes change. This person might not wish to come out into the open, preferring to let others do their dirty work. Maybe we've got the devil card here pulling the strings, or a hierophant, some sort of official matters, rulers, the establishments, the hierarchy, pulling the strings. This third party might be known to the group, even be a close friend, family member, work colleague, partner, ex-partner. We don't assume there's 5 people. 5 is the number of conflict, not battles, competition. The suit we are in is action. Something needs to change. This has got to be thrashed out so we go in this direction or that. You've got to make a decision. This is a card of bully behaviour. Quite often, we can feel bullied into things. Instead of working towards compromise and tolerance, these figures might be beaten into compliance or submission. They might have no say, toe the line, or suffer consequences. They might not want to engage on this aggressive level with each other, but it might be a case of they're coming at me and it's either kill or be killed. So depending on the environment they work in, might also be under pressure to compete or battle amongst themselves, constantly pushing hard, scared of being left behind. The 5 of Wands can represent a head, flagging, trouble, encouraging them to continue. We don't know who that person is. If there is such a person, might be right amongst it. This is where I say to you, your spread is important to find out what is going on. This is a tutorial about this card and its imagery And what we are looking at and the meanings based on the symbology and the colours and the numerology and the scene. Could it be that already the leader of the pack's hiding amongst this group, inciting this rebellious behaviour? He might be the ringleader, and he might be the one that's leading his mob into this area. So this group is a pack, and they might be hunting together, and they might be appearing like a pack that's fierce and formidable, bully type behaviour, because they're together. When singled out or separated, they might be weak or shy, and no substance underneath it. Arthur Edward Waite, part of the Rider-Waite team, Pamela Coleman-Smith, he alluded that this scene was one of mimic warfare. Just alluded to it, and suggested that it looks a lot worse than it is. Those who engage in this kind of fighting don't mean intentional harm. It's almost naive. What did you think was going to happen? Yeah? It's simply the way in which the world operates and how one climbs to the top. Unfortunately, we see it all the time. We see it in the playground, we see it in work, we see it in families. And so the individual figures expect it to be, and so their opponents are looking at a worthy fight. And it's not a healthy battle. And they're probably aware that there's going to be a hollow victory because this can't continue, as I said. And this is a message that's ringing out loud and clear. And maybe they've gone, oh, well, you know what? If I can't beat them, I'll join them. If you're not in it, you can't win it. And each wand is bearing the participants' fears of missing out on some action. Look at their clothes. It's telling you something. They're all individual and very unique. We've got checks going on there at the back, in the middle. We've got that bright red or orange. Nearly all of them, some form of red or orange in the leg wear or wear. It's part of the game. But that's the way of the world. And we need to sometimes be part of that rat race, even if you're a very peaceful, like the lioness. You can push me over and all the rest of her, but I'm protective mummy. I am the lioness, the mother. Yeah? I won't fight for myself, but I will fight for my little one, my pet. Why? Protection. Defensiveness is the rat race. Getting crabby in your commute. Cutthroat competition that goes on with jobs. Saboteurs. Promotions. Not fair. The opportunities, the gains, successes. Love. No one wants to get left behind, and everyone's prepared to fight for something they need to fight for. Boundaries, isn't it? You know? They're looking at every opportunity that they can get to actually have this happen. And so it's definitely the game of life. You can't stand on the sidelines sometimes. No one, as I said, wants to, as Arthur E. Waite said, probably looks worse than it is. But it's human behaviour. Sometimes we go into mock battle. Actions, I'm just not happy with your actions. I need to do something. Sometimes this manifests in conservation, reservation, defensiveness, protectiveness. That's unfair. You're bullying them. I'm going to fight you because I don't believe in that. It's competition. But we've got to look at it carefully and go, this cannot go on. There's got to be an outcome. The 5 figures hold their individual Ace of Wands. Remember the Ace of Wands? Each one of them going, here's my spark. Here's what I've got to say. This is my idea. This is my way forwards. This is my new beginning. This is, look, the universe gave this to me. They gave me this opportunity and I'm going to make the most of it. And what do you mean you've got yours? Listen to me. I'm talking. You're not listening. This kind of thing. And then it becomes action-based. And people say, is it physical? Sometimes, yes. Sometimes. Bullying can actually be the actions. So therefore, it does have consequences. Actions have consequences. Malicious thoughts, verbal nasty thoughts, sticks and stones break my bones, which is what this one is. But there's all this kind of, it's difficult. It's very difficult. 5s, look at the 5 of Cups. Be morose in a place of missed opportunities, dwelling on what might have been. It's all where we're at odds with something. 5 of Swords, at odds. Not easy. Here we have 5 of Wands and the 5 figures being that Ace of Wands. Like, I got that medal. I want to ignite that fire. It's not for the faint-hearted, is it? Some to let them get on with it. It depends what it's about. There's a lot of courage and conviction that needs to be able to keep this going. This momentum, it's going to need that to stay in the game, to take it to the last pace. Each must believe they've got a chance of victory. Ask a top athlete or sports person, and they'll tell you there is no point entering competition unless you intend to win. Yeah? The self-belief must be present. It's part of our human self. Something will stir you, even if it's like, how dare you cut down that beautiful tree in the park? I'm going to battle with you. Or how dare you stop selling this, that, or the other? Oh, you're welcome. Hi, how are you doing? Lovely to have you along. I haven't seen you before. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, tutorial, that's what I'm here for. Give you the pieces that the books, well, I don't want to belittle anything. Yeah, I don't want to. But let me just say quite simply that we are taught tarot in this level. The books, the cards, the little white book that we get, or we did a little course, I remember doing a course, and she went, that's all the cards in 2 hours. I was like, yeah, all the 1s are this, all the 2s are this, and now you know, 1 to 10, go to lunch and we'll do the 22. Reading on intuition is great, but if you want to go further, that's what we're here for. If you want to dig deeper, this is the channel to be on, because this is where we're covering it, and the courses are there to get you. I can only do so much here. Wait till you see the courses. They are full of all the things that when you go, hold on a minute, who is this in this card? How do I know who this is? I teach you that, okay? I teach you how to identify. Or if someone says, where's Charlie? You know, I want you to look at Charlie. Once I show you the system, it's easy. We need to know the alphabet, absorb it all, but you only need pieces of it. And your intuition will tell you which bit to use. If you've got a whole load of stuff, you'll go, something told me it was this bit, because I connected it to that part, and that's the piece of the puzzle that goes there. Look at the podcasts. I've gone from the beginning of the Major Arcana. We've done a tutorial like this on each card to really get a chance to go. And you can ask any questions while I'm here. We're running out of time, but there's no point just giving you little snippets. If you want to go deeper, I've got those. If you want to really go deep, I've got that too. And because you asked me to. Not you personally, but I've been asked so much. I had to do this 20, 30 years ago, and it kept coming. It's just gone from in-person courses to did conference call courses, and it's gone to let's share it on YouTube and let's really go to town instead of just tidbits. I could give it tidbits too, we'll mix it up. And history always shows there's always an underdog. It's a novice, it's a competitor, And when that comes together, it upsets the apple cart of the order or the play of how things work. And you know what? The underdog can end up beating all the odds or outdoing the favourites. So it's only by entering the rat race that one has any realistic expectation of succeeding. I'm not suggesting you be a bully, but you've got to stand up for what you believe. Sometimes I never do that. If somebody comes and attacks your pack, family, whatever they are, your friends, that vulnerable group, that pretty tree that did nothing to anybody, you might turn around and get involved in this. And the group come together and it's, no, we're not going to handle it like that. Yes, we're going to go with it like that. It's human behavior. And then we go, ooh, what do we do now? There's consequences, of course there are. It disrupts things so that we rebuild. It may not be better. Let's change. Competing will improve their game. And if they work hard, they might stand that chance of getting the upper hand and maybe gaining superiority. That's how it's done. If you keep throwing enough ones at it, it's not bound to hit the point or hit the spot. Ones is actions, by the way. Yeah. So this is typical of one's behavior. They go for it. They don't give up. We don't see anyone quitting. It's not like the Five of Swords where they walked away looking dejected or defeated. If you must go down as a wand, they'll go down fighting. And who knows what the outcome might be. But they all look equally matched at this point, don't they? It's still anyone's game. In the image of the Five of Wands, we see fair play. They're giving as good as they're getting. It doesn't look like anyone's been injured here yet. Although individually, they're seeking to be the supreme one. There are odds, but they do have a collective understanding of what is acceptable behaviour and what is not, based on this scene. And there's certain rules that's maybe non-verbal, which they're abiding in, like sports. Yeah. And we see all the wands are actually brandished high in the air, not hitting each other deliberately, that we can see might be. That's the action, clumsy action. They want to win fair and square. This is about action. Once they've got to that point, no one will dispute the outcome. It doesn't look like sports behaviour, but there is a dark side to everything. That can be competition, jealousy, rivalry, cutthroat competitors, prepared to do anything to win. Love, work, career. I want that property to be chosen for that. I want to be leading this. A winner is a win at the end of the day. And the end will always justify the means. Might be doubtful of their ability to win by these tactics, but they're prepared to stoop low to gain that unfair advantage. We all have it in us, whether we recognize it or not. If we are sparked by something, we get involved in battle to it. If you're running or racing, you enter it to win it. They want success, but there's no guarantee this will be honourable. We don't know that. Ruthless ambition. This is where your surrounding cards come in. My system of how to read. The one spread that will answer everything. One spread, no reverse cards. Going into depth like this. These characters are prepared to walk over anyone and everything to get to what they want. And they will leave footprints. People can find out what they did. To say, you didn't play by the rules. Trusted in teaming up or offering a helping hand. We are dismantling things. The old way, it's got to be dismantled. We've got to rebuild. My plan's better. That's what it is. We can see the closed approach of the five as it narrows to a pinpoint. We can see self-importance, maybe conceitedness. Look at the imagery from one person's perspective of the 5 figures. They are conflicting aspects within themselves. That raging battle comes from within us. It highlights that internal struggle. It might not be at others. We might be doing this to ourselves. Conflicting feelings. The devil, I know, I hate myself for doing that. Why? I said yes again. I should have said no, but what can I do? I don't want them to not like me. I have to do it. I don't feel I've got a choice. It's about the attitudes that lead us to be agitated and confused. It can be different aspects, personas of ourselves. That we need to battle within ourselves. So it may not just be with other people. You would know this in your position. Let me give you a clue. If this came up in the South with a hermit, going within and looking at opposing forces within yourself, battling changes. I hate myself. I said yes to them. I didn't stand up. I should have. There were mean ones. I didn't do anything. I didn't act on it. I needed it. The problem needed resolved. And I stepped in because I'm good at it and they expected me to. And why is it always me? We can have those flaws, but it's about our actions. We can feel all over the place and at odds with our feelings and the environment and the circumstances. We need to seek change, but it might come at a cost. We're scared of consequences, scared of things not being the same. A person might not want to be my friend, might not want to speak to me. It might change how life is. That's what we're worried about. That's what we fear. Or we go, bring it on. Arrogance. But are we really ready for it? To change can be opposed by others. If we don't deal with these battles with maintaining status quo, these figures are prepared to look at petty arguments and trials that stand in the way of them getting about their business. Of course, it would be nice to walk away and actually think that I'm burdened by the demands of daily living and those, and we've got no obligation, and well, I live on a mountain and nothing affects me. Believe me, I live in a mountain and it does affect you. There are things around. But my dad's saying to me, oh my God, you're living in a village. What are you doing? You'll find jealousy and this and that and the other. And I don't get involved in it, but unfortunately, I can see the toxic sort of dynamics that come and go over the years. And of course, this can represent people in our life, neighbours, customers that annoy us, guests, clients, get in the way of what we want to do when we're trying to do our job. They'd only go away and leave us to it. Stress. Everyone's demanding, everyone wants us to deal with them first, everyone assumes that they're more important. And worst of all, we usually get rattled like this because of a sense of entitlement coming from other people, where that makes us go, whoa. And yeah, it's a card that can be going on inside of us. Do not think this is nasty bully boys. We can be thing. And when we look at that, we go, ouch. Okay, I'm scared of the consequences. Don't be, because you've sometimes got to tear it down. I know that's easy to say, but you've got to look at it and go, what's the strategy? What's the worst case scenario? What's the best case scenario? We're expected to be everywhere, all things to everyone, all at the same time. It's and if we complain, people say, and they're all tempered with us. So sometimes we get like this. And so this might be boisterous children, needy family, demanding partners, nosy neighbours, friends that it's a one-way street relationship and you're going to go, I don't want to do this anymore. And sometimes you just got to have a boundary. And sometimes you've got to just turn around and go, you know what? I've got to think, what's going to be the outcome? This can't stay like this. It's not healthy. something's got to change. And I've got to, the competition might be you actually say to that person, no, I'm not doing you that favor. It could be as simple as that. You could be against everything, like being on a treadmill all day. These demands can cause your vital energy to go, I cannot sustain this level of physical exertion. You can't keep that going indefinitely. How could you? Don't assume people go, can't have been bullied, or battles, just your career. Or if you move house, it's not just that. It's the battle of everything to keep the peace. Sometimes it's listen to this, what's on the news, and sometimes you might need to say, please just let me have my peace and quiet. I don't want to hear it. I'm not in the right space. And they go, you need to know. And you're like, I've asked you not to. This is what you might go into a battle. You might feel it takes a lot of energy to say, I need peace and contentment in my space, within my group, whether it's your family, whether it's your workplace, because it can be so hard for all that energy to just keep draining your battery, your vital life force energy, and your resources. What can stimulate one person can totally wear another one out. Perfect example, I'm water. My partner, he's fire. Water puts out fire, by the way. Not that I win. I'm not saying that. Not at all. But he has a sense of urgency, and I love that. Why there's people go, I don't know how you two are together. You're so different. I don't want a mini me as a partner. I want someone totally different. I want somebody that's going to go, boom, make me see things from a different perspective, even if I don't agree. Sometimes you have to stand your ground. Variation is key. When the 5 comes up and things start fluctuating and it becomes unpredictable, and then we go, oh gosh, we're now becoming uncompatible and our arrangements are going to get rearranged. The scene in the 5 of Wands can be any of that. It could be friends, it can be a family, it can be a partner, it could be your neighbours, it could be the council, politics, or your MP, or a lack of fairness that you actually go, I cannot stand by and see this person bullied. Or it might be you and what you do to you every day, where you go, just easier to do it. Maybe you need to say, if it's not done, it's not done, I don't care. I'm sorry, this is my boundary. Where you then go, that was a lot easier to go, what's the worst case scenario? You'll lose them, they won't ask you, they won't be your friend. Maybe that's good. Who knows? Yeah, it can be the squabbles, disagreements, and the in-house fighting. We have a tendency that causes tension and disruption within a certain group or in our environment. It's unsettling. And like fire, it can be refueled because an extra thing comes in, pour petrol on it, throw wood on it, the air comes in. And so this quarrelsome bunch could be our family, our friends, our neighbours, our college mates, work, or troubled relationships, or good relationships where you suddenly need a heated debate. This could be a normal dynamic in a group at work. Oh, she likes it. Quite how many people have worked in an environment that's, we have to do it like this? She's a bit picky. You worked for years and you didn't have to, I don't know, fold things in a certain way or file things in that box or make sure that you did it this way or that way, because woe betide you if you didn't. Why are you so fussy and you affect so many people? Do you know what? They bend over backwards for you and you're not nice to them. You might get to that point where you actually say that to somebody in the family, somebody you work with. That's an example of this card. Or you lash me down with words. This is, hang on a minute, we're dismantling this. I don't know how we're going to do it. That's all this card's about. It's about airing grievances, dislikes, dividing and taking sides. It's just natural. It's called growth, and it's scary. It's also better than not experiencing life at all. And despite anything that we fail to get resolved, no one's prepared to back down. And yeah, some people can't get on with that. I don't even try. Life can become harder than necessary. We need to seek peace. Sometimes, like unruly children, these trying ones need constant supervision, or we need to say, this is getting out of hand. And that's where that clear blue sky symbolizes the need for peace through communication. There's no clouds in that sky. So when we've got clouds, we've got lack of clarity. So the situation is not as bad as it's made out to be. And the battle looks worse than it is. It could be about our boundaries. We've got caught up in the drama of life. There might be nothing to fight about when all is said and done, except for the sake of battle. Sometimes we need to think outside the box of what this card could look like. Sometimes we might say, why do you need to be so fussy? Why do you need to be so difficult? Why do we need this much fuss? Why do we have to have that? You might be that person that says that to you or to people around you. Or they say it to you and you go, I don't know. Maybe it made me feel safe, in control. I'll probably turn around and make some differences. And of course, this could be a card of suggesting that tempers are firing in all directions as well. We've got to look at that. It's like children unsupervised in the schoolyard. And yeah, it can be like competition and rowdy scenes. We can step out of line because we get enthusiastic, passionate, and ambitious. Without that, we're not taking action to actually grow, to get life changed. But sometimes we can find ourselves, either we lack skills or the people around us lack the skills too. Sometimes mayhem needs to be struggled to find something where you can grow and learn on the job and eventually get some incredible results. The scene in the Five of Wands is very much one of those of a gathering of individuals who are quite skilled and do want to lend their experience to one another. So each element probably has its own path and destiny to fulfill, but remember that this is the element of fire, and therefore it's about the activity and the continued progress of growth in our lives. Thank you for watching. Quick reminder, if you want to actually watch these tutorials, if you're new here, you'll find them here. That's my Learn Tarot podcast. You'll find it on my YouTube channel every Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m. UK time. In October, we'll still be 5. Go for UK 5 p.m. and look it up. And that's when we're on. Yeah? Where can you find my podcast to listen to? And you can find it on the YouTube channel, Kamala. Thank you for asking. Let me show you it again on the YouTube channel, Tarot with Anne-Marie. Look that up, tarotwithanne-marie.com. Go on to the YouTube. What I offer on here is the things that I feel are missing. I've led a team of tarot readers, psychics, clairvoyants, mediums. The last 30 years, I've taught this for 20, 30 years. I've been reading professionally for that amount of time. And quite simply, interviewing people, clear that it was somebody's taught you the ABC of we don't know how to put it together. There's a system. And that's what I'm here to share with you. If you want bite-sized keywords, that's what we'll do. I do a bit of everything that those that want to go beyond that can keep growing if that's what they want to do. If you want to be a tarot reader or develop this spiritual work, you want to know all this. By knowing it, your intuition will bring you that information when you look at that card. That is actually how it works. But there is a system. And that's what I think we just feel, gosh, you was just left to it. And I know that. And so that's People asked me to do it, and that's why I did it. Brought it onto YouTube. Hope you like it. Thank you. Please do subscribe to the channel and press the notification, and then you'll be alerted when we're on. And do watch the podcast. Thursday is about like this. We take one card, we study it. Tuesday, we're studying this card and how to combine it when we get another card next to it. So exciting. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your company. Have a beautiful weekend. Take care. Till next time. Bye for now.